Welcome to Hong Kong Brief. The content of the briefing includes: Toyota saw record November sales, output on demand in US, Europe. Tencent shares regain some ground as Beijing moves to ease gaming fears. Tencent recoups some losses after China soothes crackdown fears. Hong Kong catering giant Maxim's Group opens landmark store. At least 8 killed after severe storms batter eastern Australia. Toyota saw record November sales, output on demand in US, Europe. Bloomberg. Toyota Motor Corporation has achieved record sales and production figures in November, thanks to strong demand in North America and Europe. Global sales, including subsidiaries Hino Motors and Daihatsu Motor, rose 12% to 986,262 units, while worldwide production reached an all-time high at 1,067,446 units. Toyota has been increasing production of hybrid cars and plans to mass-produce electric vehicles to compete with Tesla and China's BYD. However, Toyota was recently hit by a scandal involving Daihatsu's manipulation of collision safety data dating back to 1989. It is not yet known how much the scandal will cost the company in terms of output, money, and customer trust. Tencent shares regain some ground as Beijing moves to ease gaming fears. Nikkei Asia. Shares of Tencent Holdings, China's most valuable company, rebounded slightly after Beijing attempted to ease concerns following its latest blow against the gaming industry. The Chinese gaming regulator released a set of draft rules to curb player spending, which spooked investors and wiped $46 billion off Tencent's market capitalization. However, on Monday, the same authority issued 105 new monetization licenses for domestic games, bringing the tally of approved games this year to 1,075. Tencent's shares were up more than 5% and NetEase's gained more than 10% in Hong Kong on Wednesday morning. Tencent recoups some losses after China soothes crackdown fears. Bloomberg. Tencent and NetEase rebounded slightly after the Chinese government softened its stance on new gaming restrictions. The companies were able to climb 4.9% and 14% respectively in Hong Kong trading following a Tuesday rebound in their mainland Chinese traded peers. Despite the bounce back, Tencent is still down around 8% after regulators imposed new restrictions on in-game spending and playing time. Investors remain wary and hope that regulators will revise some of the rules after taking industry feedback over the next month. Hong Kong catering giant Maxim's Group opens landmark store. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong restaurant group Maxim's has opened its 2000th Asian store. The company has seen a recovery in the catering business and is focused on changing consumption patterns in the post-COVID-19 era. The group marked the milestone opening with the inauguration of its Simply Life Bakery Cafe in the APM Mall. Keith Shu Tak-wai, Maxim's Group Chief Operating Officer for Hong Kong and Macau, said the company's business had picked up to around 80 to 90% of pre-COVID levels, but added that the overall operating environment remained challenging. At least 8 killed after severe storms batter eastern Australia. Al Jazeera. At least 8 people have been killed and 1 is still missing after severe storms hit Australia's eastern states over the Christmas break. Tens of thousands of homes were left without power and trees and power lines were brought down. The Bureau of Meteorology has warned that coastal regions in Queensland are still at risk of dangerous storms, life-threatening floods, giant hail and damaging winds. Tesla plans revamp of smash hit Model Y from China plant. Bloomberg. Tesla is reportedly preparing to launch a revamped version of its Model Y electric SUV from its Shanghai plant in mid-2024. The updated Model Y is said to feature more noticeable exterior and interior changes than the previous update in October. The first batch of the refreshed Model YS will be produced at Tesla's Shanghai facility, which will undergo a partial upgrade during the New Year holiday. Tesla's Model Y has been a bestseller in China, accounting for nearly 75% of the company's overall sales in the country. Tesla's domestic rivals, including BYD and XPeng, are also introducing new electric vehicles to compete in the market. Michael Kovrig hopes Ottawa settlement will cover lost income, could donate some to charity. The Globe and Mail. Canadian Michael Kovrig will donate to charity any money he receives from a financial settlement with the Canadian government that goes beyond covering his income and other losses for the nearly 3 years he spent in a Chinese prison. Mr. Kovrig and fellow Canadian Michael Spavor were arrested and charged with espionage in December 2018, shortly after Canada detained Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou on a U.S. extradition warrant. The Globe and Mail reported that Ottawa has offered around 3 million Canadian dollars, $2.4 million, to each man, but Spavor's lawyer is seeking 10.5 million Canadian dollars for his client. Asian stocks rise with year-end cheer, dollar heavy. Yahoo! Asian stocks rose broadly on Wednesday, tracking a rally from Wall Street as investors latched on to the year-end optimism driven by expectations that the Federal Reserve could begin cutting rates as early as next March. World Lacrosse Super 6 is a fabulous opportunity, says GB head coach. South China Morning Post. The inclusion of lacrosse in the Los Angeles Olympics presents a great opportunity for the sport's development in the UK, according to British lacrosse boss Tom Wenham. He said he wanted to ensure his team remained the strongest in Europe and secured a place at the 2028 Games, regardless of what format the qualification process takes. Wenham believes the new status of lacrosse has already made a massive difference to the sport, unlocking resources, support and increasing its profile. Chinese carmaker overtakes Tesla as world's most popular EV maker. Bloomberg. Chinese carmaker BYD is poised to surpass Tesla to become the biggest seller of fully electric vehicles, EVs, globally, according to Bloomberg. Citing an analyst from HSBC Qianhai Securities, the report said BYD would likely become the EV market leader this quarter, marking a symbolic turning point for the sector. China now rivals Japan for the global lead in passenger car exports, with 1.3 million of the 3.6 million vehicles shipped from the mainland as of October being EVs. Chinese manufacturers including BYD and SAIC Motor have been described as making serious inroads into the sector. China is in a strong position to capitalize on the shift towards electric vehicles. The company's founder, Wang Chuanfu, has grown BYD into a dominant player in the Chinese EV market. In 2008, Berkshire Hathaway invested about $230 million for an almost 10% stake in the firm. However, BYD has had less success with its expansion plans overseas. New tariffs on Chinese car imports into Europe could be imposed to protect manufacturing jobs, while other overseas markets are relatively undeveloped. The report stated that BYD's success is down to its smarts in bringing down the price of plug-in cars to be competitive with petrol vehicles. BYD also benefited from China's support for the EV sector, which extended from cities and provinces to the national level, and included tax breaks for consumers, production incentives for manufacturers, and cheap land and loans. Bets on Xi's common prosperity agenda led to big losses in 2023. Bloomberg. Consumer and green energy stocks in China have suffered significant losses in 2023, despite being perceived as havens amid the government's regulatory crackdowns. Companies such as China Meidong Auto Holdings, Li Ning, and Pylon Technologies have all experienced significant declines in their stock prices. This is due to China's faltering recovery from COVID lockdowns and a deepening property crisis, which have eroded investor confidence. The poor performance of these stocks has shown that investors should focus on the quality and intrinsic value of underlying businesses rather than aligning with broad policy themes. Chinese media expose prompts probe into illegal baby surrogacy. Japan Times. Health authorities in Xiamen, China, are set to investigate an assisted reproduction clinic following the exposure of a secretive surrogacy service. The surrogacy service, operated by the Longdua Medical Group, is reportedly delivering over 300 babies per year, despite surrogacy being illegal in China. Undercover reporters from Shanghai-based news outlet The Paper visited Longdua clinics in Hangzhou and Xiamen before contacting the National Health Commission. Health authorities in both cities have promised to investigate the matter. China Resources teams up with New World to develop Hong Kong's northern metropolis. South China Morning Post. China Resources Group and Hong Kong's New World Development have joined forces for a project worth 10 billion Hong Kong dollars, $1.28 billion, in the Chinese city's northern metropolis. The collaboration is the first major involvement of a large Hong Kong-based Chinese enterprise in the planned innovation and technology hub in the Northern New Territories. The site is expected to be developed into around 2,000 residential units, with a total value of 10 billion Hong Kong dollars upon completion. Farming initiative a worthwhile venture for Hong Kong. SCMP opinion. The Hong Kong government has unveiled a blueprint to boost the city's agriculture and fisheries sectors. The plan aims to increase annual production of cultured fish from 600 tons to 1,200 tons within 5 years, and to 6,000 tons within 15 years. It also aims to raise annual agricultural output from 15,000 tons to 60,000 tons over the same period. The strategy includes developing deep-sea mariculture, modernized aquaculture, fisheries protection areas, urban farming, multi-story enclosed livestock farms, and leisure farming and fisheries. However, the sector faces challenges such as land and manpower shortages, as well as the need for innovation and technology. Currently, agriculture and fisheries account for 6% of land use and less than 0.1% of GDP in Hong Kong. From Myanmar to Fukushima, the best of the big story 2023. Nikkei Asia. Nikkei Asia has selected its best cover stories from the past year, covering a range of topics from Myanmar's ruler Min Aung Hlaing to Bollywood's gender revolution to Warren Buffett's shifting Asian portfolio. The selected articles include in-depth investigations and unique angles on important issues that haven't received much attention. The articles provide valuable insights and shed light on various aspects of politics, culture, and business in Asia. That's all for today's news. Let's do a quick recap before we wrap up. Toyota has achieved record sales and production figures in November, thanks to strong demand in North America and Europe. However, the company is also facing a scandal involving Daihatsu's manipulation of collision safety data. Shares of Tencent Holdings rebounded slightly after Beijing attempted to ease concerns following its latest blow against the gaming industry. The Chinese gaming regulator released a set of draft rules to curb player spending, but then issued 105 new monetization licenses for domestic games. Hong Kong restaurant group Maxim's has opened its 2000th Asian store, marking a milestone in the recovery of the catering business in the post-COVID-19 era. Severe storms in Australia's eastern states over the Christmas break have caused at least 8 deaths and left tens of thousands of homes without power. Tesla is preparing to launch a revamped version of its Model Y electric SUV from its Shanghai plant in mid-2024, aiming to maintain its dominance in the Chinese EV market. Canadian Michael Kovrig, who spent nearly 3 years in a Chinese prison, plans to donate any financial settlement from the Canadian government to charity. Asian stocks rose on Wednesday, following a rally from Wall Street driven by year-end optimism. The inclusion of lacrosse in the Los Angeles Olympics presents a great opportunity for the sport's development in the UK, according to British lacrosse boss Tom Wenham. Chinese carmaker BYD is poised to become the biggest seller of fully electric vehicles globally, surpassing Tesla. This marks a symbolic turning point for the EV sector. Consumer and green energy stocks in China have suffered losses in 2023, indicating that investors should focus on the quality and intrinsic value of underlying businesses. Health authorities in Xiamen, China, are set to investigate an assisted reproduction clinic following the exposure of a secretive surrogacy service. China Resources Group and New World Development have joined forces for a project worth $1.28 billion in Hong Kong's northern metropolis. The Hong Kong government has unveiled a blueprint to boost the city's agriculture and fisheries sectors, aiming to increase annual production and output. Nikkei Asia has selected its best cover stories from the past year, providing valuable insights on various aspects of politics, culture, and business in Asia. That's all for today's news. Remember, if you have any thoughts or questions, I'd love to hear them. What are your thoughts on Toyota's record sales? Are you surprised by BYD's potential to become the biggest seller of EVs? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.